Hey everyone! So finally doing the second part of the little sunset coasters, and I just wanted to talk through my process. And like we discussed in the first video, which I'll link below, we're going to be doing birch tree, kind of a little silhouetted sunset birch tree grove to it. Okay, so let's start off with the 4x4. Let's take a look at how this is falling, any areas that you might want to cover up, any areas you don't want to cover up. You can start looking at how you want to place some of the trees. So let me go grab a black paint pen. We're going to lay down the silhouetted ones first, and then we'll come back. So I have little paint pens from Deco Marker. We need to buy new ones soon. There it goes. Alright, so let's jump right in. I'm going to throw in some silhouetted trees. Starting from the top, skipping down. And remember, since they're silhouetted, you don't want them too thick. You want to keep them a little bit thinner. The distance is generally a little bit further away. Let's see. You probably hear all the dogs. Alright. So that is set. As that one dries, I'm going to move it aside. I'm going to come in and add some silhouettes to the smaller ones as well. Since this paint pen takes a little bit longer to dry than the Ohuhu markers, I gotta place it aside for a minute. So back to my first one. Yep, completely dry. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Oh, that's the question, right? So right now I'm just filling in the area that I want the close-up birch. So in a silhouette like this, I don't typically use white, because even when it's close up, it still has shadowing to it, and the silver comes off very light, and once I add the detail to it, it looks even lighter once you throw the darker tones in next to it. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you're ever outside during a sunset and look at the trees, there's no full white. Even the lighter tones are a little bit darker, they're still shaded. So that's why I like to use silver instead. Just gonna get that cross of the tree placed. Alright, so now that I have the foreground trees placed where I want them, now I can come in, start to add a little bit more shading and detail with the darker gray. So like I said, all I'm doing is adding in some shadowing, darkening it just a little bit more. We want it to feel like dusk or dawn, or a time when the light behind it is darkening everything, giving that silhouette. So, just adding those details. I'm imagining more of the light coming from this direction. So, something that we can do down here for those trees, the silhouetted trees, gonna add some shadowing. We're just gonna do a little bit of a stippled in kind of shadow to them. Oh, they like noise. Love dogs dearly, but they just like to make noise. Alright, so it kind of shows the light coming from this direction. Now, I'm not looking for realism, I'm not looking for perfection. Just looking for that soft interpretation. So on this side, I'm just going to come in and add some vertical highlights down the sides with this brown bronzy color. And I try to lay all these kinds of bases down prior to doing the final with the black and adding the bark. This makes it a little easier instead of having to go back. Let's add some foliage down here with the gold. One thing I do miss about birch trees are those dotty gold kind of leaves that they have. Let's add some of these to the silhouettes because I think they're pretty. And since the silhouettes are farther away, we can see more of the top of the trees. It just makes sense to see some of the fall leaves poking through, right? So, what I have so far. And final touches is coming back. Let's see how we want to do these. So I've always liked that little cat's eye kind of marking that I've seen on some. Now I'm just coming in and looking for areas that I can add that bark. I'm not too worried about it overlapping because those areas just give it that look of the bark peeling. I'm just going to come in and repeat the same thing all the way over all of the foreground trees. Now, the bottom, they generally have a little bit more of that rough patch, these darker spots, areas animals may have been chewing on it, chewing on the bark, or brushing up against it. You see a little bit near the top, but not as much. It's generally near the base that you see more of that rough patch kind of look to the birch trees, where the sap dried and the bark was peeling, and a little bit more exposure to wildlife. But you can see just adding those little highlights prior to, because it's so much easier and gives it a little bit more depth. Just trying to give this as interpretation all as possible. So that's all I do. Then once this is fully dry, I come in with the dupli-color clear coat on top of the resin, and I lightly mist over so it still gives us that high gloss finish of the resin. And I've had no issues so far with doing the dupli-color over the resin as far as heat or cracking. I did it on one of these 6x6. I even put a tea kettle with boiling water onto it for about 10 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere around there, and I came back and it still didn't have any marks on it. So I'd say give it a shot. Don't go 100% by that. Maybe it was just my luck with it. I'm not sure, but I mean, the dupli-color is a car enamel finish used in engines and stuff like that, so it should have high heat resistance. Ooh. Happy little accent, right? Paint really wanted to come out right there, so but I'm okay with it. Streak it across, give it a little bit more of that effect. And onto the last one for this one, which is going to be this guy right over here. So this one doesn't have a lot of exposure on the tile, so I'm going to lightly scratch in some of the definition I want on the side here, just to define it a little bit more. Same on the bottom. Adding a little bit more of the black to the bottom because it is exposed. But there we go. So that's the 6x6, and that's just what I'm going to be doing to all of them. Still showing a lot of that paint pour underneath. But I wanted just to add a little birch tree grove, kind of some silhouettes, some detail to them. So let me move this out of the way, get the 4 down, and throw you guys into a time lapse so you guys can see the 4 of those. Alright, so here we are. My little sunset birch tree forest coasters. They are officially done. So yeah, hit the like button, subscribe. The GoFundMe for Christina and I are still going on, hoping to get that collab by first or second week of November. So if you guys are interested in seeing that and want to help out and get entered into a drawing for paintings that we will be sending out to everybody who donates, the GoFundMe link is below. The Ohuhu markers link is below as well. Yeah, so let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys later. Alright, bye.